What's up, guys? So today, Crowfall dropped some insane, massive news. Actually, it was kind of leaked last night. They did an announcement that was very, very hidden, and they have a partnership with Razer. They're going to do a tournament, and they're going to be offering cash prizes and other prizes as well. So they're jumping into the eSports avenue with Crowfall and the Hunger Dome, and this is exactly what I think they need to do to hype the game up and make essentially the Hunger Dome the main focus of the game. Sadly, I know a lot of the mmorpg players are going to be disappointed in this news, but that doesn't mean that they are going to stop working on the mmorpg. The Hunger Dome is essentially a smaller, more fast-paced version of the mmorpg. So we will see what is going on. Let's take a look at the live stream and all the information that they talked about today. It's about 15 minutes, so definitely watch the video full, and we'll link more information down in the description. We'll do more videos as more information of this comes out. But this is a huge drop of info from Crowfall.
And this one we've got a lot, so we may not have as much time for questions at the end just because we have so much. We just ran through the outline before we came on, and oh my goodness, there's a lot. So I think you want to just kick it off. You want to start with what we talked about last night, kind of the big reveal last night.
Yeah. So for those of you who missed it was our partnership with Razer, which is going to be super awesome because it's highlighting our most recent feature, the Hunger Dome, and the Eternal Champion series of the Hunger Dome Arena Battles.
Right. So this is our tournament system that we've been wanting to do for a while. I'm delighted that we did the announcement last night with Razer. They're the premier partner, but we also have both Intel and Alienware as partners too. So this is going to be a pretty big deal for us. I was pretty stunned when Debbie Sue came back and said, "Here's the list of partners." I mean, kind of can't ask for a better lineup than that, right? This is going to be I don't know if it was mentioned, but we're also going to be on the front page of Twitch for every round leading into finals. So that's going to be every Saturday and Sunday during May. You're going to have another round, and Ray can walk us through actually what those rounds are. We didn't talk about that last night because we were so pressed for time. You want to do that real quick?
Yeah, no problem. So, okay, here's sort of the layout of the tournament. So, just like a regular Hunger Dome match, there are 12 teams of 5 players each, so it's all the standard things you're used to. And we are starting off with 6 qualifying rounds. So the way it works is 12 teams play in a qualifying round, and the winner of the qualifying round is in the finals. So that's just right. That's how that works. Places 2 through 7 go into a wild card. Right? So we'll do our 6 qualifying rounds. That gets us 6 people in the final. Then we're going to have 3 wild card rounds made up of the people who got close in the qualifiers but didn't quite win. So those people compete for last spots. The first and second place of each wild card round, they go to the finals as well. So that gives us our final 12 teams, and they battle it out for who's going to win.
Yeah, so pretty cool. I think it's going to be super exciting. So there's a ton of information on this that we're not going to go over because it's all on the website. You can go to crowfall.com and check it out at the Eternal Champion Series website. There's also I guess we kind of buried the lead on this one. There's $50,000 worth of cash and prizes on the line for this, so that's kind of a big deal. Team, we haven't actually started the application process for teams. That's going to be coming on the 13th, I believe, is when it goes live. At that point, you'll be able to log into our website, create a team of 5 people, and then actually apply. This is an invitational. I mean, if this goes well, our hope is that long-term we'll do more of these, but to kind of get us up and running, the easiest thing for us to do is do an invitational. So we're going to basically ask teams to get in and help us test and help us play Hunger Dome, and we'll be watching, and we'll try and put together basically the list of teams to invite to the qualifiers based on what we think will make for the best, fun match, both for the participants and for us and the people watching. So anyway, there's a lot of excitement around that. I'm not going to spend too much time on it this time, though, because we have so many changes coming related to campaigns and the MMO. I want to spend most of our time on that. But there were some questions that came out since last night, since we came up, that I did want to make sure that we got to. So question number 1 was, some of you may recall that at one point in our story past as a company, we did a crowdfunded investment round where people could come in and do small investments in the company, and most people who participated, it was like $100 or something like that. So in the lines of the rules, it says, you cannot participate in the competition if you are an investor. Well, that kind of sucks, right? That people who early on invested just because they kind of like this are now not allowed in the tournament. We would like to allow those people to be in, but we don't know if we can. So we've had to call our attorneys to ask that question. So if I could wave a magic wand, I would say that investors who have invested in larger rounds and larger dollar figures through the course of our history, they are of course not eligible. But for the people who invested in the crowd-funded round in particular, usually with smaller amounts of money, and almost entirely with smaller amounts of money, I would like those people to be able to participate. I just don't know if we can, so I have to beg your patience while we go find out if it's legal. If it is, that's awesome. That's great. We don't have an issue with it, but we don't want to get into trouble. So on that note of legality, we had some other questions about things like participation if I live in France, or if I'm a citizen of this country, but I'm going to be in this country and stuff like that. We're going to have to check all those with legal as well. From my standpoint, other than in propriety, right, like employees and things like that, I would love everybody to be able to participate. The more people, the better. But we live in a very complicated legal world, so we have to run these things past our attorneys to make sure that that everything is kosher before we can let you in. So, given the choice, my answer would be yes, but it's going to take a little bit of legwork on our behalf to make sure. I mean, obviously, we got to do what we got to do, right? We're not going to step on any laws. We're going to do everything by the book. So,
I think the biggest question I've seen so far in chat, Todd, is what server is this going to be held on? Is it going to be on live or test? Because we didn't mention that.
Yeah, so it's actually going to be on a separate environment. We're going to set up a separate ecosystem that is a tournament ecosystem. It's a great question. I think we're going to put it at the furthest point east we can in the U.S. by AWS, because that'll give the best ping time for the maximum number of players. Unfortunately, we kind of don't. We might be able to look at the qualifiers and find a way to move them around based on where people are located, but I don't want to promise that. We'll take a look at it. But the general assumption should be we'll choose the location that seems to be the best for the majority of the players. That's
they were actually more concerned about if they would have to go grind vessels on test or live.
Yeah, so Ray's going to talk about that. So we made a call on this first tournament to do archetypes because it'll just make it'll level the playing field and make everything much easier on us to manage. Longer term, I don't necessarily want that to be the case. But for this first one, I think it's pretty smart, and Ray can tell you the approach that he's taken to do that.
Right. So I know, don't worry, I've read a lot of comments about the current archetypes that are there, and those were made to be simple, right? The ones that are currently live on, again, I understand, we simplified those on purpose, right?
You guys, new players who come in, they're not going to know the meta, right? So we're not going to throw really complicated builds at them. Even if they are more effective, we just wanted to make it, they can get in and play,
Right, and because most of the players who have been around are looking at these builds with, a fine-tooth comb. They're like, well, this would be better. I can maximize this. This class is better. I can play this better. Odds are the people who understand that stuff, they're going to create their own vessels, right? And so with the current version that we have up, you guys are going to be playing your own anyway. And those are supposed to be simplified for new players. That being said, the tournament, totally different. So the archetypes that we're making for the tournament are for advanced players. They are within the meta. They are optimized. They are, they are made for advanced players to play and synergize together to create
and there's
the best
a larger
possible
array of them as well, right? You're trying to get a solid amount of coverage. The last time you showed me the list, there was 18 of them.
Yeah, so, now I haven't finalized this list yet. We had 6 that were available, again, for new players. Smaller choices, pick something and go. But for the tournament, we want these advanced archetypes for advanced players for you guys to start to create your own sort of meta inside your builds.
So the first question is, am I going to get to see them in detail sooner, right?
Sorry,
so the first question is going to be, am I going to be able to see them sooner in detail, right? Yes. And then the next question I would ask after that is going to be, I'm just letting you know, when can I play them, right? Those are the 2 questions that immediately pop to the top of my mind.
Right. So First off, I'm still narrowing down the exact ones. As Todd said, I've got a list of 18. I might need to cull it down a little bit. I'm not sure. But I'm currently building these things and getting some screenshots, and then Tiggs and I will create an article. We'll put that up so that people can actually see what the builds are for the archetypes. So if you want to, if it's not immediately available, you can create one and go, all right, I'm going to practice with this one, or I'm going to practice with this one. So what we might do is put the full array up, and then if I need to cull later, we can. But that's where we are right now. I've got the archetypes, I've got the builds. It's just a matter of deciding which ones we're going to go with. 18 sounded like a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of choices. So, that's where I am right now, is maybe narrow it down, maybe 14, maybe 16, maybe 18. I don't know. But there's a nice wide array of promotion classes. And no, of course, no duplicate promotion classes. So that's 18 of them right there. So, and every class is in there, every race is in there. It's a nice assortment. It's a nice assortment. So I think you'll be happy. It may not be your particular flavor because there are so many choices, but you should go, okay, this is good. So.
Yeah, and right now our plan is to max level them and put discipline runestones on them as well.
Yeah, they all
That's
come
part of
equipped.
the meta that you prearranged.
Right, they all come equipped with the runes. We'll make them level 35. But I think we're probably not going to level like via vessel or level via all the rune stones. We just have to look at that. We're going to normalize everything to the most extent to keep a balanced and even playing field.
Yeah, level playing field is really
that's the main goal.
So affiliates, right? So in the rules it says, and you cannot be an affiliate. So we talked about this one, and unfortunately, the simple fact is it's probably not proper for somebody that has an affiliate relationship with our company to be a participant in the tournament. So the only option that we really see, and this one sucks, I'm sorry about it, but the only option we can see is that somebody can drop their affiliate status and participate in the tournament. Afterwards, you're welcome to reapply, but you'll be going through the same process that you did before, which is not terribly painful, but we don't see any way to basically continue that commercial relationship while also having people participate in the tournament. It just doesn't feel appropriate. So I hope you guys understand. I don't love it. Like I want, like I said, from my standpoint, I want everybody to be able to play, but it is important that again, it's about level playing field and the tournament being fair. So I think that's while it's not my favorite answer, I think it is the right answer. So that's where we landed on that this morning. So thank you for that question. Did I miss any? Were there any other questions that came up? I'm sure there'll be a ton more, but like I said, I don't want to spend too much of our time on the tournament. While it is cool and exciting, we have a massive amount of changes that just went live, and we have a whole nother build right behind it that we're working on. Things have really picked up, as you'll see by our schedule of events just today alone. There's a ton of stuff happening. And yesterday was a peak day for us in terms of users and registrations, and so I explained it to the team as like the roller coasters at the top of the hill. So brace yourselves because everything's going to go faster from this point on. So Ray, Blair, was there anything else on the tournament side that we forgot to talk about?
No, I think that answers all of the big top level questions. Of course, there's people saying that they would prefer to use their own builds, but this is a tournament. We're trying to level the playing field.
And actually, I think longer term, I think that might be possible. What we're also trying to do is kind of simplify this particular. This is the first time we've ever done one, so we didn't want to add too much chaos. Like one of the things I'll tell you, one of the things Ray and I just discussed was whether or not we should allow disciplines to be swapped the first 2 minutes before the thing starts. And because technically we could do that. We could put a discipline vendor. In fact, at one point we had him in there. It's just the problem is it adds risk, right? So I definitely would love to do it. We're in this weird spot of the project where every time we try and grab something additional to throw into the game, we're adding risk. I posted for him the picture of Indiana Jones and Holy Grail reaching for the Grail. Like, but it's so close, Dad, I can almost grab it. That's what it feels like, is we have to balance constantly now the adding something new versus how much new risk. And I'm not beyond the temptation, right? As you'll see as we go through this, there's still some things that we're going to decide we need to have, and we need to have them as soon as possible. But we have to be mindful of that, because I know that when you guys say, hey, but I really want X, underneath that assumption is, but of course you have to fix all the bugs. Like, nobody's saying I want X and I don't care if you fix the server crash. You're saying, well, of course you have to fix the server crash, but on top of that, I also want X. So we have to pay for that. We have to actually get that work done. So, okay, so I guess that's good for tournaments. You'll want to move on to
let's talk about